Hey guys, thanks for joining. Today, I'm going to accept my invite to the Arc browser so you can kind of check out the experience. I'm going to be kind of looking at things through the lens of a product designer. So right now, we're on the website for this new browser. The new browser is kind of like, the way I've heard it described is like a complete ground up rethink of what an internet browser should be, instead of like just making an incremental improvement over Chrome or Safari. So that's kind of the ground floor idea. It's just kind of completely rethought. So I'm interested to see like what new ideas they've kind of placed in here to kind of make this like a more of a unique experience. If it really feels like such a thoughtful redesign or take on what it means to be a web browser. So um, yeah, so I'm going to accept my invite. So here's the website as it stands today. Kind of cool. Uh, there's not a lot on this website, but it's got some, you know, yeah, just it's your space to breathe on the internet. That should tell you everything you need to know, right? Uh, I do like this though. Are you ready to let go of the old internet? That's pretty cool. And I like how it's kind of framing it up like this is a new, uh, like kind of a big update. Like everything else is going to be something different than what this is. And I like that. So, anyways, I signed up. Also, the .NET is just awesome. Like I love that they went with the .NET. But anyways, I already did the try for yourself. It just takes you to a Typeform page. Which I dig the background they've got here too. So, anyways, if you want to sign up, you can go to this page. This isn't like sponsored or anything. This is just like how you actually sign up for it. So, if you find it cool and you don't actually have an invite, it only took me a couple weeks to get this. I've actually been sitting on the invite for a while, um, and I've been kind of seeing some of the talk on Twitter about it. It's got me excited to try it out. So we're going to give it a shot today. So you're going to kind of see it in real time. So going back to their page, here's the email they sent me. So pretty cool. Love the monospace. Um, yeah, we're going to download it. We're going to see what this does. All right, here it is. Download's complete. Only took me a few seconds, but I have pretty fast internet. Drag that to our applications folder. All right, it just dropped in. So we're going to see, pops up in Spotlight. So here goes our first launch of it. Let's see what we got going on. Again, that cool. Mm, this is very cool. All right, I'll fill out the information and we'll kind of jump to the next thing. All right, now I'm getting the welcoming stuff. This is pretty cool. You can see, you know, this is just like a really cool intro. Like I dig the background. Um, Nothing here seems too new, but I do kind of like the folder animations. Those are really cool. The icons, that's really cool. I like the simplified just tabs. So let's start this setup. Okay, so we can import everything from an existing browser. Let's do Chrome. Yeah, I'm gonna import my personal stuff from Chrome. We'll see what this is. I had to give it permission to import things from a Mac, so I'm just gonna import everything, and we'll see what that's like. This is cool. Gets you some colors. Man, that affects a lot. I do also like that this is like, they give you some preset ideas up here, some gradients maybe, and then you can actually go ahead and do your own thing. That's really cool. I'm going to go with this darker color. I really like how it looks on the background of my Mac, so it's still got kind of a gradient on it anyways. But the grain, that's pretty cool. There's some higher grain in there. That looks really nice. I actually dig this more. So we're gonna do this. Um, Maybe drop this down the intensity a little bit. High grain. I'm digging it. All right. So, oh, this is cool. Okay, so this isn't a static image. I just figured this was pulling in some common things. So this is pretty cool. Get to pick your favorites. Also like how it references the image itself. So like for the Figma icon, you can kind of see the gradient. Slack, it does the same thing. That's really cool. Yeah, you can kind of see a little bit here on Calendar. Not so much on Gmail, but that's okay. And then for more of the solid things, like it's not doing as much. That's still cool. Really though, dig the way Figma looks. That's really awesome. It is a little odd seeing, this kind of feel like filled in because they don't have that white inside the Spotify logo, but still really cool. Awesome. Love how this is like in this tiny window here. This is really cool. And then you can set it all up right here. Bam. Should we block ads? The answer to this is actually selected as yes before I even have to select anything. I'm gonna keep going with that. Ooh, default. No, I'm still exploring my options. For me personally, I just use Chrome for everything, so we're gonna stick with Chrome right now. But this is pretty cool. Okay, so I have like a little membership card. This is cool, and I love this little effect where it kind of has the weight attached to the mouse as it pulls around, and there's almost like a gentle light, um, effect happening. I don't know. It's kind of hard to see. Like it's almost like it's happening to the card itself, but also the image, this background kind of gradient here is also moving. Also, just like how they reference like kind of that arced uh, line in the middle. That's really cool. So you can download it. You can request a new one. That's really cool. Uh, really dig all the gradients that they are using. This one's pretty cool. We'll go with that. And then you can send it to people. Not sure why. Oh, cool. Okay. So you can like save it, I guess, and send it to AirDrop. I wonder why you need to do that. Okay, so let's start exploring. That is a really cool transition. Already very, very excited about the way this looks. All right, so we're gonna scroll down maybe. No, we have to click. All right, so we got some video here. Really love how this appears within kind of a container here. Really cool that they have this. I'm not gonna make you watch a YouTube video in a YouTube video. Okay, so now we can kind of see this. One thing that's really kind of sticking out to me right now is this new tab indicator. Really like how it's pulsing. I mean, it definitely grabs your attention, right? Probably more so than I would normally want. But I know they are trying to get you to do that new tab. So we need a new tab. Okay, so there's a couple different things. There's links, so you could do YouTube, which is pretty cool. And then you could see all of your just reading off what was on there. Apple event was yesterday. You can see all of your open tabs here, which is pretty cool. Switch sides here. So yeah, this is really cool. Also, something I'm noticing about the way the interface looks, I really dig that this sidebar is here. Let's go full width on this. I really dig that they're using this background color all the way around the web page that you're looking at. So this is just like some art page that they included. You can close these tabs really easily. Kind of cool that they appear in a list. Probably a little easier to read them, because in Chrome, everything gets so smushed down to almost an icon or like a really, like, if you have like 50 tabs open, which is common for everyone, you can only read the first couple letters of a tab because it doesn't shrink down to like the pinned size. So it's kind of cool. And I like how, the difference here being that like pinned items are maybe coming up here on the top. Notifications can kind of pop in there. That's really cool. So it generates it as a new tab below. That's really cool. So if you close that, it still stays open, which is a little bit different. We'll go back to getting started, which is not a tab. This is interesting too. This one kind of becomes its own. Okay, opens Notion. Interesting. So now you can move it to favorites. That's what these are. And then you can move it to the pinned, a today view, and more, which is interesting. Kind of the flow is that they're moving you down into bookmarks at that point. So if you don't need it for today, then you can move it into bookmarks. Interesting. Okay, well, let's try something. So if I need to type something in, we're not doing that on the at the top of the browser. We're doing it in the sidebar here. So let's just go to Dribble. So again, that opens as a new tab. That's really cool. So if I want to close it, I can just close that thing. You scroll around in here. It's cool. It did bring in like all my information here at the top. So you all want to follow me on Dribble, yada yada, you can. But this is cool. I like this layout. So I'm wondering, you shut the tab. This is pretty cool. I dig the border. Um, it's interesting because I actually kind of do this anyways. I like that flyout too. That's cool. I oftentimes find myself just keeping my desktop open and free, and then aligning like different windows that I'm using just with kind of my own border. So really interesting that they've actually got that same treatment happening within their own product. I really dig that. So I'm kind of curious. So you got your library. This is cool. I like the kind of offset, kind of, shifted, a little bit like it's a piece of paper laying on top of something kind of approach here. So you can enable your library. That's really cool. Everything can appear here, which is really cool. So you have to give some permissions. So we'll see what this is like. But kind of dig, yeah, like you can see, this is my downloads folder, or recents actually. So you can kind of see like different things pop up. And I love this effect right here. It's got kind of a subtle shimmer on the image. Does that for everything, right? Yeah, even on like a PDF. Um, Even on this image of your hard drive. And the card just kind of has that weight attached to the mouse. So then you can also click here. It's a little bit strange though, because you can drag this thing around, that it doesn't change states when you get to this. But kind of cool that you can copy it, airdrop it, like hide it, do whatever you want here. Um, so then you can view your desktop, which is interesting. So yeah, library is kind of cool. That's different. I am really interested to see how that would be used more often. Okay, so going back, so yeah, you can kind of see it's got a little stack, which is pretty cool. That kind of feels like what you would get on your Mac desktop, at least, the way that kind of opens. So yeah, it's got imported bookmarks, which is pretty cool. So you can kind of see that here. I love this, how it opens. I also love that this kind of takes on the color, a certain color based on the theme that you've chosen, assuming. I don't know that for sure. But it seemed like when I was looking around earlier in that onboarding, it used kind of a bluer color for these icons. So I bet that they change based on whatever color this is to help make it stand out more. You can kind of see though that like Twitter and Gmail, like these are absolutely so difficult to read. Even Figma is really hard to read. So it'd be interesting if there's like a lighter um, treatment to these, so that way they could stand out a little bit more. But I also like how they're trying to place everything on like a single surface. It's like text doesn't really stand out a whole lot more than these icons do, and your actual like uh, I don't know, search bar. But then you see on the surface like the thing that you've selected is here. So let's see if we go to new tab. So I kind of like how this pulls up. I use this a lot on my Mac, like just Command Spacebar, pulling up Spotlight Search. That's really cool. I kind of dig that this opens up like Spotlight Search. So it's got some suggestions of things I can open here. Reddit's a little bit different because it doesn't actually appear in my favorites, and I don't really use Reddit on my machine, really ever. But yeah, you can see extensions popping up, and then new easel. Let's try that. All right, so an easel. Let me move my avatar around a little bit. Sorry about that. So it's a scrapbook for the web. So it's pretty cool. So you can, let's just call this new easel. Okay, that's awesome. So if you had like images and text, you could, oh, this is, okay, this is pretty free form. So you can do anything you want here. You could draw something. So I bet if you drop in an image of some sort, so let's go to screenshots. Let's drop in this one. So I thought this was pretty cool from the Apple presentation yesterday. So dynamic island, that's kind of cool. So I bet you could, yeah, you could make notes and do like whatever you want. So you could post that here. So then this becomes like a pretty cool tool for like creating things. So I'm just kind of curious, like, so if you created like a new, so if you went in and did a new easel, so any easels appear here. So yeah, you can share easels with other ARC users to collaborate or publish it online. That's actually really cool that you can publish it. So you can capture your magic link. I'm not seeing where that's at. I bet you have to do it here. Gotcha. So very cool. You can copy that URL. You can archive and delete. That's really cool. And you can add it in different areas. Okay, this is really cool. So you can see it in kind of a list here. Also, split view is something that I've really seen that's interesting. So let's just go to apple.com. We'll open that up in a different sidebar here. Very cool that that you can do this. So split view, really like this. This is really cool how it kind of just has this little dotted line to kind of take you into the context of what you're looking at. Really cool that you can just drag and drop these around. It even resizes uh, the easel space. That's really cool. Oh, and you can drag tabs in here to keep them around so pen tabs don't get archived. Really cool. I really like this too, how it actually shows you that this is like two tabs in that split view. That's really cool. I was not expecting to be able to see that. So that's really cool. So yeah, you can go to the Apple website, and if you want to learn more about kind of the new phones, maybe you were making some notes about like, I don't know what was happening on the new Pro with the dynamic island. You can do that. So here we go. And like, yeah, if you wanted to just snap a screenshot, I guess you could do that and drag it from your Mac into the easel. Wow. So it works natively, which is really, really cool. So you could just kind of collect things as you go. I feel like easel is going to be really powerful. I personally, I take a lot of notes with screenshots, but I'm oftentimes dropping them into like a Figma file or maybe an individual note, but sometimes those are kind of hard to share around. Obviously, a Figma file isn't hard to share around, but other things would be harder to share around. So this is kind of a cool way to get around that. The other thing I've kind of seen too, which is interesting. So let's go to Figma. I'm going to open up my Figma document. Okay, untouched tabs are archived after 12 hours, and you can get them and find them again here. So we're going to open up a new design file, and one thing that I've seen that I've really, really been wanting to try out, this is probably one of my more like impressed moments with the browser, is like if you would open this up. So I just opened it up as, the individual Figma file went away. Interesting. So this is a prototype view, right? And then you could open this in a split view, and then you have to choose what you want to view in the first one. So I'm just going to open Figma, just the regular kind of Figma file here. Give yourself some space. Cool. Huh. Okay, so you can create spaces too. That's really awesome. So you can kind of combine different types of things in here. Really like the idea of spaces. That's really cool. Let's open this page. And let's get rid of this sidebar here. So I'm wondering, can you shift these around? I'm sure there's a way to move like which thing appears where. But pretty cool that you could like actually be testing out a design here and see it in the context of your phone the entire time. So for like people who design like I do, design for like digital products on the web, really cool that you could kind of see this in the context of the device. And if you're building a prototype, you could click around and test interactions without having to go up and swap between the two tabs you've got open. I guess you could get around this if you opened another tab and drug it out of Figma and placed it on the side. You could definitely do that, but that still to me kind of feels like a little different than this. This is pretty real time, which is pretty cool. So I really like this. It might be real time on Figma too. Not suggesting that Figma is not doing something that Arc is, but yeah, this is really, really fun that you can do this. So yeah, if you go back over, you could open your sidebar. Man, it'd be pretty cool too to like, you could open your tab, and this would be pretty hilarious to do. So you can always just open in split view, right? And then you could see split views here too. So your prior split views, that's really cool. So yeah, if you open that Figma file, like, hey, if you were just like wanting to watch some things going down on Twitter, paying attention to some news or something, you could just run this like, kind of like how you could like two monitors. I bet actually this would be really cool if you're watching a tutorial on YouTube and you just want to like keep it here. That way you don't have to be going back and forth between different browsers. So that would be really cool. I do find this funny too. It's just like it would be if you were viewing Figma in multiple different browsers on the same machine. I just love that you're doing it within Arc, and it's not closing those other tab groups in the background, so they're still active, so you can kind of see yourself being duplicated over and over again. So Okay, well, I kind of wonder what else is here. So you got some plugins, split view options. So I wonder what this is. Okay, so this is how you can switch things. So if I had my sidebar still open, I'd probably be able to see this a little bit clearer. Actually, I can't. Interesting. Okay, so you have to hover. Also interesting that it places them above the screen that they relate to. That's a really nice little touch. That way it's not trying to, that way you're not trying to figure out like exactly what it's for. They have a lot of these lightweight little touches, like things like this, um, that just show cohesion. They show how things relate to each other. I really like the sidebar, really like the containment of the background gradient, really like the customization that you can do. So I'm sure you could come in and do preferences. And okay, so yeah, pretty native for Mac. Pretty cool. Yeah, so you can see, I don't know, everything's kind of managed in here. I love that they have shortcuts. Little arc is really cool. Um, Interesting. So you can have a little arc. This is really cool. That feels a little bit disconnected here because it's not quite center. That's a little different, but I do like the little arc. That's really cool. And then, yeah, I mean, site settings, interesting. Um, and then advanced. So I wonder where you can get to, um, like customize your background and stuff. Not super important now, but really interesting that you can kind of do all this in one space. So, okay, appearance. Yeah, so you can switch between different appearances, but still not exactly the thing that I was thinking. So, but anyways, I bet this is pretty cool and full screen too. Yeah, so there's no like little curved edges anymore, so it just spills completely through the edges of the screen. Really cool. I also like that you don't have to come in here, double click, and then copy. Also like that this expands to be bigger, so they're kind of using it in the same pattern, but just in two different places. That's really cool. Really dig that. Also like if you open a new tab and you don't actually do anything with it, it just doesn't put it in your list. Very cool. Okay, so now if you hit that add button, also love the little interaction here. Love the bounciness and that kind of crossing. That's really cool. So if you create a new space, let's do that really quick. That's kind of cool. Oh, a new space. Okay, so it kind of feels like a layer above. Um, so we can add that, and then we can start to add different tabs into it. So click on space icons to see different things. So that's a space. Oh, actually, that's like, it kind of makes me think of like a solar system. Kind of cool. So yeah, now you can start to add tabs in here. I wonder. Okay, so if you pull that out, okay, so it doesn't actually appear as a tab in your list, but we'll open Figma again. Actually, we'll do Dribble. That's a little bit more engaging to look at. So we'll do Dribble. That's pretty cool to be able to see. And so then if you shift back, you can see everything, and then you can see your spaces start to stack up here. So I also wonder when you create a new folder, interesting. Um, so that just pops it open here as untitled, so you don't get to name it. You'll name that later. Cool. And yeah, they're just going to keep prompting me to upgrade to default. Also, really interesting in this modal, like they have the three buttons across. That's not necessarily that new, but it is interesting the way they chose to do alignment on the close action for this. So it's almost like this entire header becomes just one unit. So really working on a lot of consistency and alignment here. But it is a little bit of a quirk to see things kind of pop up like this. But cool, uh, cool that they did that. All right. Well, that's it for now. I mean, if everybody likes this, I might do another follow-up video here in a few weeks. I'll just set this as my default now because it imported so much information. So I might just start using Arc as my default, and we'll just kind of see where it goes. So that's kind of it for video one. If I add a video two, I'll link it in the comments below. So thank you. I'll catch you in the next one.